I'm the LP creature, and I have a battle against Roserader4, and he is using a grass monotype team, and I'm using a ghost monotype team, which means it's just that pure type. It isn't a mixture, and it doesn't matter about tier. It's just one type versus one type. So I'm going to start with Chandelier. He's going to start with the Victory Bell. I'm going to go for the obvious overheat due to it being stronger than, due to it being stronger to his entire team. And I get the lucky one-hit KO off on that Victory Bell. I didn't know if he was a defense Victory Bell or what was going on, so I just went for the overheat just to be safe. So my Chandelier is doing alright right now, and he's going to send out Toppings, which is a Breloom. So I figured he'd have Spore, so I just left my Chandelier in so I could see if I'm correct or not. So I am correct, which I'm okay with, because Chandelier I doubt would sleep long anyway. There's 2 to 5 turns of sleep, and he's a poison healing Breloom with a Toxic Orb, so it just made everything a lot more worse for me. So he's going to use that Stone Edge, knowing it would do a good chunk of damage to me, due to me being weak to it. So I'm lucky enough to survive with 47 HP, and then I also get the lucky Wake Up on turn 2, and I get off the Overheat, that's a -2 spec attack on the Breloom. And luckily, as well, a -2 Overheat took out the Breloom without a problem. And of course it was a crit, which also most likely mattered because I was at -2 spec attack. So it's looking good right now. It's 6-4, and he's going to set out Ichigo, which is his Sceptile as well. And this Sceptile is a pretty cool Sceptile. He went for the Dragon Claw thinking I was low enough for that just to KO me. But luckily for me, I stayed at 8 HP, and I'm going to use the -4 Overheat. I am not Choice Scarfed, and yeah, I'm faster. So I killed off the Sceptile with a -4 Overheat, luckily, and I end up making this a 6-3 game so far. So he's going to set it as Celebi, and I know I'm going to end up dying from the Celebi, so he just goes for the Energy Ball just to, do the 8 damage. It isn't much, so you might as well just use a weaker move to take out my Chandelier. So now that Chandelier's out, he's done a nice job sweeping out some of his team. So I'm going to send my Bayonet, and he has the Frisk ability, which allows me to see what item they're using. So he is using Leftovers, obviously, because Celebi and Leftovers are just good. So I went for the Sucker Punch just in case he's using a attacking move, which is the only way my Sucker Punch would work. But it failed due to him using Thunder Wave instead. So he cut my speed in half. But my Bayonet is Choice Scarf, so I'm going to go for the Sucker Punch knowing he's going to try to hit me hard before I end up killing off his Celebi. So, as you see, it does a good chunk of damage, I'm Life Orb, sorry. And as you see, it does a good chunk of damage. And he's going to go for the Energy Ball. And it's going to do also a very good chunk of damage. So, my Chandelier ended up helping me out through this game. And my Bayonet is just also trying to get some stuff done too. So, I'm going to go for the Sucker Punch as priority, and he's weak to dark by ×2, so I just put myself in a very critical health position that I could basically die from almost any type of physical or special move. So my Bayonet ended up getting killed by a Energy Ball, and Celebi is leftover Celebi, so of course he gains HP. So I'm going to send my Drifbloom knowing that my Drifbloom is really fast. And he has the Flame Burst ability, which makes it so when he's inflicted by a burn, his special attacks do 50% more damage. So luckily for me, since I'm faster than Celebi, I got off the first hit, and then my Flame Orb comes into play. So he's going to send his Blossom, and I didn't know what type of Blossom this was, so I just went for the obvious Psychic, due to them being weak to it. And want to see how much damage it does. Or, no, they're neutral to it, I believe, sorry. And, I see, it does a decent chunk of HP, so he's going to go for the Leaf Storm. And I didn't know if it had a Leaf Storm or not. So it does a very good chunk of damage to me. I'm surprised it didn't do more. So he got -2 spec attack, and my Flame Orb is also eating away at me, so I'm not going to survive much longer. So I'm going to go for the next Psychic just to get off as much damage as possible, knowing that this will be the better move to use. So I luckily avoided that attack, and I'm just hurting myself even more with my burn. So I'm going to go for the Psychic just to KO the Blossom. So as you see, it worked out to my favor. Avoiding that move kept me alive, and I wouldn't have died from my burn. But now I'm also in another critical position with another Pokemon. He's going to send his Leafeon, which is just a monster. I'm going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, knowing he's weak to fire, of course, because he's using Grass Mono-type team. And I know I wouldn't survive a hit from Leafeon. So he goes for the Leaf Blade, kills my Drifblim with ease, even though he wasn't a critical spot. But it would have killed me if I had even like 100 HP. So I'm going to send out my Gengar, because my Gengar could hopefully do some good damage to it because he's fast. So I'm going to go for the Nightshade. And as you see, it does a decent chunk of damage. So he's going to Swords Dance it up, get the +2 going on for his Leaf Blade so he can start trying to sweep my team and get the victory. So with my Gengar, I'm just going to continuously Nightshade to see how low I can get him for my next Pokemon, because I know I won't survive a Leaf Blade no matter if he was faster or not. So I'm just going to try to get as much damage off as possible and end up following up my Gengar for a free switch. So it worked in my favor. It killed my Gengar. Either way, I could have killed his Leafeon if I stayed in or not, because I was faster, but I didn't know if Leafeon has like priority moves or anything, because I've never had a Leafeon. So he ends up killing himself with Life Orb. So that's good game, Roserader4. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment, rate, subscribe. Have a good day, everyone.